ceremony. And so it's a woman's ceremony, but it's our men's duty to protect that ceremony. And with that respect, I'll give you a little bit of that song in a warrior's way, because the way that you get 4, 5, 6, a dozen women singing this song, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful. So I'll just give you a few lines here and sing the song. In those few words, I'm saying that water, I love you. And the Washtenaw actually was given to our people by the British because it was meaning the water of afar. Since this is kind of like history, so people of the water from afar. So that April 22nd to around, they figure around May 25th, it's going to be a long walk. It's going to be beautiful. The last ceremony on Seneca Lake, it was beautiful. I get to see the rebirth of like the Mississippi River and how wonderful that's coming down the river now. And it's all a renewal. And we already know that this industry has been here for 160 years. It's time to show unity in the community. That's all I got right now.
Hi, for those of you that don't know me, my name's Maggie Henry. I'm an organic farmer from right over on the other side of New Middletown, Ohio. I don't know how many of you were at the meetings that we had at the Villa Marie a couple of years back now. It was, they were very educational. They were like right on when this first started. They showed split estate and a whole bunch of other things there. Well, we've had a reorganizational meeting the last couple of weeks, and we have decided that we're going to start those back up. And our first, I had it up here and just lost it. Our first meeting to start up again, we're calling it Phase 2, the fracking boom. It's here. Now what do we do? It is Thursday. Yeah, please mark your calendars all this while I'm scrolling around this looking for this. It's Thursday, March 27th, 6:30 to 8:30 in the same dining room that they were at before. It's called the Magnificent Dining Room. You just go into the part where the statue of Mary is, and then you cut around back, and the dining room is right there. And we really would appreciate all your attendance, because in the last couple of weeks, there's been 13 wells permitted in the Pulaski area. And I don't know how many of you have made the trip out to New Middletown, Ohio to see that cryogenics plant. But even if you were at our protest, we did it on Valentine's Day when Kasich, that fool, was there. Yeah, don't get me started. When he was there opening the plant, it's now, they've broke ground. It's going to be 2 times larger than what it is now, so it's worth the trip out there to see it. It's absolutely horrific, and I'm a mile from there if you want to stop down the road and say hi to me. Thank you.
Hi, I'm John, and I'd just like to introduce a friend of mine. Her name is Pat McCrudden. She's from the Westwood Lake Mobile Home Park, and I know what Randy was saying here today really hit home because Pat's husband, Bill, is not doing very well. And Pat asked me if she could come up and speak, and heck yeah.
Thank you. I'm one of those crazy people that the ODNR has called me a nutcase. They just ran the gamut of all the names that they can think of for me and anybody that's like me. I live within 500 to 600 feet of a fracking well, Westwood Mobile Home Park in Weathersfield Township, right on the border with Lordstown, the Kibler well. Now, as of tomorrow, it'll be starting the 15th month that I've lived with this. And my husband is very, very ill now, and we can't prove that it's from that well, but we've asked the doctors. I don't think there are very many doctors in this area that are acquainted with the things that happen from a well like this, but I see what's going on. I see every day what's going on. I smell it, I hear it, the lights, the stench. We were getting a lot of the diesel fuel fumes, but now we're getting something else that smells like tar. I don't know what it is, but it has like a tar smell. Now, I think it was last week when we had snow, then we had rain, then we had more snow. And I could see across the lake from the orange, oh, by the way, we had orange snow. The whole area was lit up with these two flaring columns. And you could see all the snow that was orange everywhere. Everything's lit up. Lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah, you could see that across there. And just the smell alone would get you. But all these different things that we could see over there. Last night, this morning, about midnight, something was going on by the condensate tanks. At first, we thought the police were over there. There was all kind of flashing lights, but no blue ones. It was all yellow flashing lights and red lights over there. So we don't know if something leaked from those tanks or what. But what I was trying to get to was I've lived there going on 24 years, so I know how that cornfield floods over there. It comes down, and by the trees, by the edge of our lake, that will flood. And it floods pretty good. And then it'll take, after a couple of days, it'll drain off down around into the creek behind my house and go out. Eventually, it'll go into the Mahoning River. But I could see the light shimmering on that. You could see the water shimmering from the light shining on it. And I knew it was flooded over there. Now, my understanding is, too, that when they're fracking or when this stuff is coming up from the ground, some of it does get on the ground. And another thing that really got me was all these workers over there. I've been over there several times, and I've seen these workers. They don't have masks or anything on. They're working without anything. And that's been upsetting to me. That's how I got started in a lot of this, too. Our water, my water comes from Niles, which comes from Meander. And I don't know. I just feel sorry for these people that have to have all these diseases and stuff coming from this stuff. And then they call us crackpots because we complain about it. We're not allowed to say anything because we are crackpots. Well, I'd rather be a crackpot than what they are.
I want to remind them where they can get your videos. Tell them where they
videos?
can get the videos on the website.
Yeah, what website?
To keep Niles safe.
Keep Niles safe?
I'll do it.
Oh, you better do it because you know more about that.
There's a website out. The counterpart to the Youngstown fight is the Niles fight, and the Niles website is called keepnilessafe.org, and there's a page on there about disasters. And on that page, there's some videos, and some of the videos on that page are about what the people of Westwood Lake Park have gone through. So if you'd like to see them, that's where you can go and see them. I think, Susie, we're going to open this up to questions and answers, and
Thank you. So we have a number of people here that want to share their stories, but we also want to encourage people that have questions to ask them. And, and some of us, may be able to answer it, or we will certainly find out the answer to it. So Tim is he has a mobile mic. So if you want to raise your hand with a question, we would like to do some of that now, and then certainly, we have Kathleen Berry, who is a nurse, and Gary Carter. We have people here that have stories to tell locally. So, again, this is a global problem, and there's people being poisoned and affected by this process globally. So, does anyone have any questions about fracking, about the Bill of Rights?
Hi, Susie. My name is Barb. My parents live right across the street from the cryogenics plant, and they're building what looks like an impoundment there now. And if there's anybody here in the room that can give me some information on the impoundment and the VOCs coming off of it, I would really appreciate it. Because the thing is probably half a football field away from their front yard. And they've already dumped chemical less than 100 feet from their well. So I'm really concerned about that. And I've got a lot of information on the air thanks to Patty. But the VOCs out of the impoundment is what's petrifying me, because my parents are vulnerable. They're stroke victims and thyroid sufferers. And from what I understand that affects all of that. So if anybody in the room could give me some information, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Is there anyone that knows something about the impoundment pits? Certainly the VOCs, the volatile organic compounds, they're volatile, which means they go into the air. So I'm not an expert of that. I just know that they banned them in 1983, and that's when they started the injection, because they thought injection wells were the safest technology at the time. And now they're bringing them back. And we will certainly find as much information as we can for you, Barb, because like I said, we have a nurse, and we have other people that can look at those effects.
I can give her a general answer.
Howard can address that.
My name's Howard Markert. I live here in Youngstown, and I contribute to the effort by doing a lot of online research. And one of the reasons why the industry is so against telling us what's at any particular site is they use a different recipe of this chemical mix from amongst 600 different toxic chemical ingredients at each well. And that's proprietary information. They don't want to share it because they don't want a competitor at a well a mile away from figuring out what to use. And that's why they've tried to write all this legislation so they can't share it. So unfortunately, there's no specific way to tell you what exactly is in there. The best guess is the most volatile ones are benzene, toluene, and be prepared for those. They are endocrine disruptors. You mentioned thyroid problems, and that's part of the endocrine system, so definitely there would be some issues with that. Most likely, because those pits are designed to allow the drill cuttings to settle out, you also have the radiation involved there and radon gas, which is already a problem in our area.
And that's one reason we do Community Bill of Rights. And there are townships, and there's areas in Ohio that are unincorporated. So those people need to go to their county commissioners. But as we're seeing, there is no one above us protecting us. So that's why, we need to come together and say enough is enough, and we need our public health and safety to be a priority rather than, corporate profits, oil and gas industry profits. So, but we have your information, and we will keep in touch because we're all in this together. So,
My name is Henrietta Bibbs. I just have a question. Number one, why is Canfield, Poland, Austintown not a part of this? Why does it always seem to be a referendum from Youngstown as opposed to the wealthier parts of the county? Why aren't they a part of this? That's number one. And the other thing is, last night, some of us in this room saw Blood on the Mountains, which was a wonderful documentary done for what's going on in West Virginia. I mean, it was devastating. And I mean, the same kinds of issues that we're dealing with here was tenfold in what's going on in West Virginia. And then Rachel Maddow has done a wonderful job of shining light on what's going on in North Carolina with the coal ash spill and the 30 earthquakes that took place last month in Oklahoma and what's going on in Texas. Is there any way we can coordinate all this? I mean, we've got all these disparate groups trying to say and do the same. And what's going on in North Carolina with the Moral Mondays? I think we could. Yes. I think it's time for a movement, quite frankly.
Yes, right. That's great. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I know. Just to address your question quickly, that's what we're trying to do. And Youngstown is just the beginning of that. We have formed the Ohio Community Rights Network, which is all about people across the state, because as you just heard from townships in Ohio are the worst. They have no authority to do any initiative petitions, anything like that. They cannot take control whatsoever and that's about 50% of Ohio's population. Well, that's what the network is about. So Susie here is in charge of the Mahoning County. So if all those communities you mentioned are Mahoning County, of the Mahoning County chapter of the Ohio Community Rights Network. So that is what we're doing. We've already got now, what is it, how many? 12 counties that have joined this movement.
I think it's amazing when the referendum was put on the ballot last year that the powers that be kept saying Youngstown needed to vote for this. And you had the unions saying that, you know, we need to vote for this and don't support those tree huggers, you know,
Right.
jobs.
Vote against
And really
it.
all you're for is democracy.
Yeah, but the wealthier parts of this community also have to breathe the air.
Exactly.
You would think that Canfield and the rest of them would be just as outrageous.
I can answer that one. And this is the sad fact is Youngstown is organized as a home rule city. So they have a city charter, and the charter can be amended. So the only way we could protect ourselves, protect our drinking water in the Meander Reservoir, whom, yes, Austintown, that's their water, some of Boardman, some of Canfield, Girard, Mineral Ridge. Youngstown citizens, Niles, McDonald, anybody I forgot? These are all water drinkers who need Youngstown voters. They really need Youngstown voters now. They need to be very kind to people in Youngstown. They need to say, vote yes on your community Bill of Rights, because it is the only thing that's going to protect our populated areas of the city from being fracked. Currently, the preemptive state laws say, what, 350 feet from our kitchen window we can have a well, or is it 150
Oh, no, it's
feet?
150 feet.
150 feet. We can have a frack well. Is it 150 feet? And that's totally unacceptable. This is in populated areas. In our Meander Reservoir, the wonderful Ohio Department of Natural Resources permits frack wells. As Ray was stating in his presentation, 6% of all wells fail upon drilling. Well, go look at the Cadle well out in North Jackson. It failed upon drilling. Had a 4-foot-long casing split. And who concreted that shut? Halliburton. They brought out Halliburton. No, it's cemented shut. The reason for the Deep Horizon oil spill is the cement failure of Halliburton. Halliburton cement failure caused the largest oil spill ever recorded. And we have a frack well on Blott Road that our county commissioners so wisely sold CNX Gas Company, you know, a little baby company of Consul, CNX Gas Company, limited liability company, 148 violations that we know of in Pennsylvania. Our county commissioner sold them $8 3,250,000 gallons of our processed MVSD water to frack that well. It's gurgling under there right now. It's fracked. So that's on that one middle thing. Our next really scary thing is the liming well, okay, that everybody just heard about, that ODNR just gave Halcon a permit December 17th of 2013. The liming well is 2,000 feet from the shore of the Meander Reservoir. We have to vote yes on our Community Bill of Rights to protect our own drinking water, first and foremost. That's what it's about. This isn't about some fake jobs that are supposedly coming in here, you know, from this industry. That, you know, the propaganda of the industry is trying to say, you're a desperate area. You're a desperate area that needs jobs, and we're going to give you jobs. What jobs? 23 plumber and pipe fitter jobs out at the cryogenic plant where these guys have to live, you know, ready to explode. I think an evacuation radius of 50 miles. And, you know, my dad's house is, what, as the crow flies, 4 miles. A cryogenic plant to cool down this gas, this Utica product, so it'll be liquid and go through the pipelines so they can get it exported to China to make these plastics. I mean, talk about pulling the wool over people's eyes. But it all takes public records. That on that poster further down there, that was Freedom of Information Act findings from the Sierra Club. Our stuff is always Ohio Sunshine Laws. And we just do public records requests. So that's how we uncovered that Mill Creek Park commissioners are talking to Sunoco Logistics, and they want to run this explosive, you know, the pipelines that are blown up all over the country, ethane pipeline across Vickers, across Hitchcock Woods, across the Mill Creek Farm, along the bike path. So the only way we get any info is doing public records requests. And what other interesting, who else did public, okay. Patty?
I just wanted to say something. Well, yeah, I of course did, you know, public records request on that plan out there, but I just want to say that I personally attended Poland Township meeting several
Come up here.
to no avail. I mean, I can speak about that.
Yeah, they dictate to you that, hey, we already made this.
About the what?
We want you on the record.
I mean, I just,
No appeal, right?
the appeal's done. I lost it on standing, but we fought long and hard to do that. I have a lot of people that have helped me along the way, thank God for them. But what tore me up more than anything was there's children living right across the street from this plant. And I'm going to tell you guys something. Fracking's nothing. It's nothing compared to this plant. And if you don't believe me, it's at State Line Road in New Middletown Road, and you really want to go by there and take a look for yourselves, because I promise you, it'll come to Youngstown. These people weren't even told. Yeah, they weren't even told it was coming in. Next thing you know, they had 200 bulldozers side by side plowing down 100 acres. And that's all she wrote. You can take a stone and hit these people's, hit the fence to this plant from their homes. And one other thing quickly, Mark West has recently purchased the Youngstown Southern, and heads up people, because I know he's coming through North Lima. He very nicely put a Santa Claus in slow motion train down through North Lima to announce his arrival. He's going to be bringing railroad from that plant through Negley, Boardman, down Southern Boulevard, Rogers, Columbiana, Salem. They're going to be hauling propane. Good luck with that. Good luck with that. How many train derailments have we seen lately? Okay, and you can't imagine, I mean, how scary that's going to be when they start coming through your town. So this is just the tip of the iceberg. Keep it out of there. You know, these guys don't even have zoning out there, and their trustees are all for it, you know. But, you know, I went to the Poland meeting, and I have proof there are 4 abandoned wells under this plant. It's almost like walking through a minefield. because they're drilling next door, new drilling, 13 new wells, and if they hit and communicate with one of those old wells, God forbid, the people that live across the state line in Pennsylvania, their only escape route was through the field, and now they've put the pipelines behind the trailer court. If anything happens out there, these people are done.
This
There's
is why we have
no way
to
to
vote
escape.
yes. We
No way
have
to
to vote
escape.
yes on the Community Bill of Rights. And I didn't complete the answer to the question. You're saying, why not Canfield? Why not Boardman? Why not these other people? Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt Patty. I'm trying to hurry up and finish that question because I didn't answer your question because I just went off on a whole bunch. Every single little town is organized in a different manner. So the only recourse they're going to have is, I think, and here's somebody from the Ohio Community Rights Network who can tell you.
Well, the goal is, you hit it right on the head with having a movement. The county chapters form together to eventually change the state constitution. In Ohio, we do have one thing. We don't have a lot going for us, but we have one thing, and that we have on the books a rule that we can actually call the people together to propose constitutional changes at a constitutional convention. So yes, we need, and the other thing is that there's no one else going to come in and save you. I think you've noticed from what you heard this evening, there's no regulatory agency that's going to save you. Regulatory agencies were actually set up by industry. Okay, so that's something, and you can study that in history. We put on democracy schools, and that's something we go over in that's just a lie that they're there to regulate the industry. They're there to protect the industry, make it standard for them, and to get the people away from them. Okay, you go to the hearing, it's to keep you occupied, so you're not actually working on democratic things like passing laws in your community. So maybe you can contact Susie to join the county chapter, because we don't all have the same democratic rights in Ohio with townships, villages, and cities.